Hey, good evening, good afternoon, hello everyone, and welcome to Ask the Dogman again. We come to you live on both Facebook and YouTube. As always, I guess, no surprise there. This is Angel Soriano, aka Dogman, ready to bring another great show to you. Sitting alongside our great producer, James. Say hello.
Hello.
He's a man of very few words. If you're new to the show, this is the show where we offer solutions to your canine behaviors and training questions, just issues you're having. Last week we got into diet stuff. I forget, anyway, the question, don't limit it to anything. Just ask the question. If we don't know it, we'll tell you, okay? It's really, really cool and simple stuff. So we'll get through it. We'll have a good time. Just know that, the number one thing we do around this place is have fun. That's the reason we do the show, by the way, is because we enjoy it. At least I enjoy it. James freaks out because he's doing all the technical stuff. So let me explain to you how you can get your questions answered today, or any other day for that matter. Just add your questions to the comment section of either feed. If you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook, in the comment section, just put in your question, and James sees them. Those things pop up on his screens, and he'll tell us about it, and we can move on. And then, meanwhile, what I typically try to do is try to answer emails that we get backed up on. We're seriously backed up on emails, so we try to get caught up by doing those. But we get seriously backed up on emails because we rather listen to you, what you have to say today. Since you're watching us, we just prioritize that. If you have a question, pop it. We'll get to the email some other time in the future. So for now, just comment back, give us a thumbs up, give us something, some sort of indication that you have a heartbeat and that we're coming through, that you can see us, that you can hear us. That's probably even more important than seeing this ugly mug. So anything counts, okay? James, did I get all the stuff out?
I think so.
Good. Okay, so question I have is, do we have any live questions yet? And if not?
Not yet.
Okay. So why don't we move into some of those behavior emails or questions that we've gotten through, and just know, everybody, that sometimes some topics repeat. So James will pull them and then ask a question. Sometimes they come specifically from a person because it's very unique. And anyway, we'll see how this goes. So what's the first email you want to get into?
All right, the first one that really gets everybody.
Good.
Why is my dog wiping his butt on my carpet? This is from Linda.
Linda, thank you for tuning in. I love it. Why is your dog wiping his butt? I imagine that he's scooting, like dragging his butt. I imagine that's what you mean by that. Well, there's probably very few reasons for that, okay? But I would imagine that this is a small breed, and if it is, typically, there's something called the anal glands, and they don't get emptied out completely when they go to the bathroom. Larger dogs don't have this problem as much. Every now and then I come across a dog that does. And typically when that happens, if it doesn't get emptied out during their normal constitution breaks, how was that? You like that word, James?
Yeah.
So if it doesn't get cleaned up during those moments, then it will have a certain itch and a certain uncomfortable feel, and they'll do this. So what that means is that's a clear sign for you to go back to your vet or go to your groomer. Sometimes they're both they're in the same building. The point is, go see somebody, because it's something that it's really unpleasant to do, by the way. And they're really good at doing it. They'll clean it all out, and your dog will be fine. If it's a small dog, if it's a dog that you take in to do grooming, we have a small dog that requires grooming now once a month. I just got this little female about 3 weeks ago. They will do that automatically, but just ask for it anyway. You bring them in, they get them groomed. You say trim, 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 clean, 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 and specifically say, hey, please secrete the anal glands. And like I said, most of them will do it anyway, but put it on the list for you to say those words, and the problem will go away. There may be other medical issues going on. You can talk to your vet about that, but typically, 99% of the time is that. Anyway, good luck with it. Everybody wants to know an answer to that.
Right.
What do you got?
All right, so Facebook.
Yeah.
Jamie asked, how do we get our puppy to stop getting on the furniture? When she gets on the furniture, we immediately tell her to get down, and she listens, but how do we stop it in the first place?
Got it. Jamie, thank you for tuning in. This is really cool. Gosh, so much to say about this topic. I'm going to try to make it short, maybe not. I mean, if there isn't another question, I'm not going to make it short. So, good. So here's the deal. Jamie, first of all, dogs learn through the reinforcement of a positive lesson. Okay, so the fact that you're saying, hey, get off that couch, and the dog goes, yes, let me get off. There was nothing learned there, right? So there has to be a positive moment where the dog gets praised and rewarded for not jumping on. So a couple of things that I would, suggest is do some setup sessions. If they like to jump on this couch or she likes to jump on this couch, I would suggest you block the couch, you do whatever's necessary. You can put chairs on top of it, babysit the couch. You can put cellophane wrap. You can sometimes put aluminum wrap, anything that makes any kind of sound that is going to discourage your dog from getting up there. Okay, so one is do that. Put that up there. But you have to observe your dog. That's going to discourage it temporarily. Observe, pay attention to your dog. Your dog is going to get close to it. It's going to maybe put its foot on top of it or maybe just smell and walk away. You must reward that walking away. You must reward that leaving of the scene, right? Your dog is leaving the crime scene, having not done the crime. That's a reward moment. You make a big deal out of that. Okay, it's a time-consuming thing. You got to repeat it. Look, on a weekend, you can have this thing licked. You can get it fixed if you just think about rewarding that positive moment. And they're hard to find, right? They're really hard to find. So you have to basically set them up and say, hey, what am I going to do? Let's put some furniture. Let me do this. Let me do that. Now, let me assume that you're watching TV. You're not paying attention. You haven't done the setup. You're just doing your thing. And the dog jumps on the couch and you say, get off. And the dog, like you said, listens and jumps off. Wait about 3 to 4 seconds and then go praise your dog. I know in your mind you don't want to praise, you probably want to kill. The point is, go praise your dog 3 to 4 seconds after this dog has left the scene. You said get off, your dog got off. Now go praise 3 to 4 seconds. Count it off. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, etc. Count it off. When you get to about 3 to 4 seconds, then go praise the animal for not being in the middle of the crime anymore. That is another way of trying to reward this behavior, so the dog starts learning that 4 feet on the ground is reward, and when I lay on this couch, it's no longer a rewarding thing. Anyway, hopefully that helps get back to us on the next show and let us know how that goes. So, but great question. What do you have?
All right, next up, Rachel asks, would it be difficult to train a dog to be a therapy dog, also for protection?
Yikes. Rachel, so thank you for tuning in, by the way. We love it. So the two terms conflict, okay? So I'm going to tackle this in 2 different ways. One is there's no such thing, according to any therapy group out there, that will allow a personal protection dog to be a therapy dog. They just, for whatever reason, they just feel uncomfortable, et cetera, okay? So the 2 terms conflict. Just you're going to have to decide, hey, do I want a personal protection dog? Do I want a therapy dog? Et cetera. Remember, a therapy dog is a dog that provides comfort to others. Not therapy for you, it's therapy for others. So you go to schools and you go to, elderly places and you read to children. So you can see the exposure there. Anybody in the therapy world, anybody running a therapy company or organization is going to have a real issue with you having a so-called or even a perfectly well-behaved personal protection dog. They just have an issue with that because of the liability involved if something was to happen. Now, in my world, my dogs don't do any of that kind of stuff. And we never get to that personal protection stage unless they're pre-qualified. But that doesn't change the fact that the facts are the facts, right? So a therapy group is not going to allow it. So that's the downside of it. So you have to pick one or the other, okay? Anyway, I hope that gives a definitive answer for you. Give us a shout back if you need more. Good luck.
So Diego asks, I lost it, sorry.
Oh.
All right. Diego asks, he's got a 4-month-old boxer who's struggling to walk on a leash. Basically says she pulls sometimes but often refuses. They've tried bribing her with treats to follow, but...
Okay.
So there we are.
Okay, so it's a leash training. It sounds like pulling on lead for the most part. Is that what Diego is suffering with right now? Or the dog that Diego owns is suffering with? Diego, thank you for tuning in. So any dog that is pulling on lead, obviously, and at 4 months, I think you mentioned 4 months, this is a young pup, okay? So there's a lot to be learned in this process, and typically little pups, you know, their attention span is like this short, okay? So my input on this kind of stuff is to stay on top of your training in general. All the stuff that you've been learning to date, stay on top of it. That's one. Two, the fact that your dog is pulling on lead says to me that the dog has not yet comprehended its placement. So my input to you is the following. One is put them on whatever leash and collar you have. Don't go crazy on this. And you know, do little exercises where you walk 10, 20 feet in one direction. Let's just say north for the sake of communicating. So you're going to move 20 feet in the north direction, and at a given point, whenever the dog decides to start pulling, you're going to go south. You're going to just turn around and go south, okay? Your dog, by the way, is going to catch up to you. As soon as he does, if he passes you, turn around and go north again, right? Repeat this. You're going to look pretty silly in front of your house, but repeat this until your dog starts realizing that you're pretty unpredictable and he has to pay attention to you. Do this over and over and over again. Eventually, you're going to be able to get 100 feet, 200 feet before he starts pulling, and when he does, you're going to do the same procedure. Continue to repeat this. All you're doing is trying to teach placement, and it's not going to be pretty. It's not exactly going to be to your left. We'll do that later on in life when your dog is a little older. But it will keep the dog from pulling because now he has learned that you're truly unpredictable as far as your walks are concerned. It's an easy fix. You know, you can do it anytime. Food in the cases like this, especially with puppies, you reach a point in puppies in the stage of 4 months, 5 months. You reach a point at 4 to 5 months in puppies that you need to pull the treats away, okay? And this flies in the face of every other trainer out there that is doing your cheap internet training, okay? The best way to communicate with your dog is you and your dog. Touch, praise, love, communicate. You know, at that age, start pulling treats away. As you can see, it's not working for you. It's probably not. And if it does work, they become so dependent on the treat that you will forever smell like a treat, right? So get rid of it and start doing these little exercises. They're going to go a long way. But thank you much. That's a great question.
Well, he also adds that whenever he makes a sprinting motion, the dog follows and chases. And
good.
You're on the right path there. Yeah. Just keep changing your speed back and forth, and your dog will start to learn that your motion means the dog needs to move.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, Diego. And James hits it right on the head there. If you were to do the same exercise, you're saying if you pick up speed and he chases you, or he picks up speed, then guess what? The same exercise that I mentioned before about doing these 180-degree turns, why not change speed, right? Walk really fast. And then at a given moment, slow down to nothing. He's going to run by you, trust me, right? But guess what? If you're moving slower than he is, he's going to have to slow down and realize that his placement is somewhere on the left or somewhere on the right, wherever it is you're healing, okay? So you're on the right path. Continue to repeat it, and let us know how it goes. That's very cool. What do you got?
Andrea says hi.
Hello, Andrea. How are you? This is cool.
All right. So next up, we're going to go to an email real quick.
I love it when old timers and old clients tune in, man. This is kind of cool.
So next up, this is an email. My dog went to a puppy class at a different training facility. Started a dog fight on the last day of class. Since then, he continues to bark and tries to start fights. How can I stop this?
Okay. And does it say age?
It does not give it.
It does not say. Okay. So if you're on, give us a little bit of feedback as to how old. And did it say a name?
It just said a puppy and no name.
No name. Anonymous. Hello, Anonymous. There's probably a few of you today. Gosh. You know, so many different reasons for a dog getting into a dog fight, and it's hard to pinpoint at a distance, right? I mean, here we're talking to a camera, and you're on the other end trying to figure out what it is that your dog did wrong. And my question is, did your dog do something wrong, right? Because you're probably saying, yeah, he did because he started a fight. Well, did he not? Was he provoked? Was he not? And what I mean by provoked, it doesn't have to be a beating. It doesn't have to be a dog assaulting him. It could be just eyeballing from another dog that turned your dog on to react negatively. Anyway, who knows what happened? But the bottom line is we got to move forward, right? That move forward is, okay, so you have an animal that you have a dog that is starting or at least engaging in fights in other dogs, that's a learned behavior, right? You just stated this is a learned behavior. This dog was not like this, and on the last day of class, he started one, and now he's starting it all the time. So he's either become a bully or he is defending himself. Hard to tell, like I said, over a camera. In most of these cases, we want to see the dog and we want to duplicate or replicate the condition. And what happens when we replicate it is we get to see what is coming up. But it could be a form of fear aggression in that your dog is reacting negatively to a strange dog, and therefore I'm going to do the pre-assault before they assault me. Okay. Or it could be that he's being a bully, which is either territorialism or just some defense aggression that he's coming up with. Either way, all this stuff, in most dogs, this stuff is fixed unless you're dealing with 7-10 years worth of bad behavior. And even then it's fixable, but it just takes a long time. Sometimes you don't have enough life left in the dog to be able to fix it. But the point is that this should be fixable. The best way to go at it, and I wish I can give you a fix. It's just, I'm telling you what things could be going on in your dog's little head that is causing this. But one, it's fixable. Two, we just got to put our finger on, is this fear aggression, defense aggression, territorialism, what is going on, okay? And all of those are typically fixable unless you're dealing with some sort of genetic predisposition, and those don't happen. They're rare, okay? So anyway, I hope that helps. By the way, give us a call. We need to do an evaluation is what I should really be getting to. Something like that needs to be evaluated by behaviors. We got several of us in the place that can help you with this, but just go to a professional to get an opinion on this, and from then on it should be fixed. So thank you.
All right, so we're
back to Andrea. Tell your daddy I said hi. Okay, he's a good man. I need to have breakfast with him again.
We're gonna go back to Facebook real quick. Jamie asks, how do you stop nipping everything, particularly the kids?
And who's this?
Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. Good question. Gosh, again, this is one of those weird ones, just like the last one. So many different reasons could be going on. Is this nipping in play? Is it nipping in aggression? Is your dog being annoyed and therefore they nip at the kids and you and anybody else? Or is this just out of the clear blue, nipping? I can give you several answers, okay? So if this is just playful nipping and he's running around and all of a sudden he decides to bite you, that's a puppy behavior that never left. Okay, it should have been dealt with, during his growing years or growing time, and that's not intended to be negative. It's just those are the things that are best dealt when they're really, really young. You may have a young dog. If you're talking a dog that is 18 months or younger, this is a young dog, and it's still puppy nipping behavior that needs to be dealt with. Now, how do you deal with the puppy nipping behavior? Is a couple of things. One is it needs to be interrupted every time it happens. You can do this with, sometimes they react to a spray bottle with water. And make it into a mist format, and then you basically have to be on the lookout, and you have to pay attention and say, well, if he likes to nip at me when I walk fast, let me walk fast several times and see what happens. If this happens in play, we'll engage him in play and see if he does it, and when he does, then you need to interrupt it. And again, just know that they're not learning a darn thing when you're interrupting. They're going to learn from the positive reinforcement you're going to give them after they no longer nip you, right? So they nip you, you interrupt it, you're going to wait 3 to 4 seconds, and then you're going to follow with a nice, solid, good boy, good no nip, whatever your praise command might be. But you have to be able to reward the fact that he's no longer nipping. So that is if it's play nip. Play nip is easy to get rid of, by the way. It's just, you got to stay on top of your game. You have to do a bunch of setup sessions. Like I say, spray bottles work. You can put a collar on them and actually do some collar correction. A lot of dogs react to your verbal command, right? You tell them something, especially if you have a serious tone to your command, and the dogs typically react to it, right? They know mama is upset or daddy is upset. So try that, okay? Now, if this is different, if we're dealing with a dog that is nipping you as a result of not being bothered, right? You wake him up, or you want him to go outside, or you walk by him and he nips at you. That's plain lack of respect. There's an alpha struggle in your house, right? So if that is what you're seeing, again, back to the original statement that I made with the last caller or the last person, is you need to consult a professional. Give us a jingle. Let's talk about this. Again, If this dog is doing it and you have figured that, hey, don't bother him, or don't even get close to him or whatever. If he's nipping in that sort of way, again, that's an alpha struggle issue you're having at home. We need to go deal with it, and it's going to be a process. Okay, it's not an overnight fix, but typically it deals with an alpha struggle where he has lost the respect of the pack, and as far as he is concerned, he is the pack leader. That has to change, right? So hopefully I tackled both cases. So thank you for the question. That's a really good one. We have really good questions this week. This is good.
Very, very good questions. So we're going to go to an email real quick so we can start knocking them off.
Oh gosh, please. Yeah.
So this is another Mr. Anonymous.
We've had two of those.
Yes. My dog keeps shaking his head for no reason. Sometimes he tilts his head to the side. Does he have a neurological issue?
He might. So I tell you, the first thing that I go to, and first my disclaimer, I'm not a veterinarian. Please consult your veterinarian. There, I got that out, didn't I? And okay, once I get that out, then from my personal experience, when you see dogs shaking their heads a lot, typically they're dealing with an ear discomfort, an ear infection that could be going on. You also mentioned he's tilting his head. Mm-hmm. Is that typically the low side of the head is the one that might be infected? Meaning, if they're tilting to the left, I would be looking at that left ear. Inspect it when you get a chance. You can put a little bit of pressure behind the ear and see how the dog reacts. If there's an infection, he's going to be in pain, and you're going to know it because they're going to make a sound. The other thing, as disgusting as this sounds, you may want to put your nose to it and do a little bit of sniff on both of them and see how they smell. A clean ear, non-infected ear should not smell horrible, okay? By the way, you're not going to smell roses either, but it's not going to smell horrible. Go check that first. And at least you know what to say to your veterinarian when you do this. You may want to call up and say, hey, the left ear on the dog really smells bad, and he's tilting his head, etc., etc. It just sounds like an infection. I mean, that's the first thing that I would go to. Now, I don't want to dismiss your neurological statement because I don't know how loaded that question is. Meaning, do you have history? And this is something for you to answer yourself. Is there history of this dog having other neurological issues? Did we have a breeding problem with this animal? And you may not know if it's a rescue. But are there other observations you made over time, or has a veterinarian said, hey, this dog has got a problem and it may be neurological, and now you're seeing this ear thing or tilt head thing? If that's the case, then there's probably, reason to be alarmed, okay? But if you don't have any of that data, I go with the ear infection first. Talk to your veterinarian. I tell you, they fix that kind of stuff in a matter of days. They'll give them product. They clean it out first. They give them product, and I'm telling you, I've seen my dogs, German Shepherds, they always have an infected ear. I see my dogs go from tilted ear to normal behavior in a matter of 3 to 4 hours. So not that it's totally fixed, but it's been alleviated enough that they can actually not suffer, right, until it gets cleared up. So good question. See the vet. What do you got?
We got time for one more.
Yeah, let's do it.
Kayla asks, maybe two more.
Two more.
Kayla asks, she's got a 1-year-old foster right now that occasionally has some fear aggression, so she wants some tips for better handling around unfamiliar dogs and men that approach the kennel at adoption events.
Kayla, so a couple of things. You said a touch of fear aggression. Since you're going to events, obviously you're probably in the field, so you probably have diagnosed this correctly. I'll assume that, okay? Simply because you probably see enough dogs. So a few things. So fear is an interesting beast when it comes to dogs. I imagine most of the animals in the kingdom, but in the canine arena, what's interesting about it is that the dog is triggering out of fear. So if the outburst is growl and bark and all that kind of stuff, then what we need to do is at this early stage, the first answer would be get them some professional help. Put that aside for now, and then say, second, if you're going to go to these events, my input would be start getting this dog conditioned to the events. And what I mean by that is, if you know that people are going to come over and they're going to be within 10 feet, then start doing some exercises just like it, in a safe environment, and get him over to 15 feet and see if he barks or growls. If he does, go to 20 feet. Figure out what the safe distance is, and once you get that, now you have a safe distance to work with and say, okay, he's safe to 15 and a half feet. Now let's repeat this and see, can I get that same person closer to 14 and 13? And it's really repetition. The more you do this, the more comfortable the dog gets that it's okay for someone to be 10 feet. And then it's okay for someone to be there at 9 and 8. It's repetition. It's a slow process, but it'll get you there. In no way is the problem fixed, but at least you're conditioning the dog to not bark and growl and assault the cage. I have no idea. I mean, if he's assaulting the crate or whatever he's doing, at least you're conditioning that it's safe, that nothing is going to happen to him. There's no reason to bark and growl at this person getting close to you. The real answer, like I said at the very beginning of this thing, is give somebody a call. Give us a call. Obviously, this is what we do this. We do this for a living. Give us a call. Let's go through the dog and see that we may be able to figure out. The idea in cases like this is to interrupt the conditions if you can, and then make sure you reward the right condition afterwards. There's no magic in any of this stuff with dogs, okay? It's really an easy behavioral task. Anyway, I hope that helps you. So, what do you got, James?
Can we do one more?
Sure.
All right, last one. This is a new one.
Cool.
How do you get a dog to stop tagging you or pawing at you as you walk away?
Is that all it says?
That's all it says.
Gosh, I guess I don't understand the question well enough.
So I guess as they're walking away, the dog is pawing at them to try and get their attention.
Oh, it could be about engaging them, maybe. Huh? Okay. Okay, that makes sense. The word tag had me. I was thinking, hey, they're playing tag. That's kind of cool. So to say, try to go make some money. That's a good trick to have. If the dog is doing that kind of stuff, it just means that he's probably dictating what the rules are, right? If he's really saying, I want to play some more. If you're walking away from the middle of the game and he's continuing doing this, he's demanding more time from you, that really means your dog is in charge of that game, right? And we probably need to change that around. It's easy to do, by the way. This is the world of obedience. Get on top of your dog obedience-wise. It's no pain, no suffering, just obedience. Make sure this dog understands who the boss is, right? Again, no pain, no suffering. It's just about making sure your dog understands the 5 basic commands. Heel, sit, down, stay, come. That's all. But repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. Once you think it's good, get sharper, right? Quicker on all those commands. And then at that point, start introducing those commands, such as stop, right? You're done with the game, stop. When you're about to walk out of the room and this is the time he will tag you, he will paw at you or harass you, that's when you say, hey, stay, and leave the room. Repeat this enough times and you'll get to the point where this dog understands who the boss is, and the fact that you start the game, you finish the game, you leave the room, you come back to the room, you own this place. So anyway, I hope that one helps if I understood the question correctly. What do you think?
I think we're out of time.
Oh, we're out of time again? This has been good. Cool. So, by the way, mark your calendars for the Czech Festival, the Czechoslovakian Festival. It's going to go on Saturday, October the 6th. So it's a week from this Saturday. In Yukon. If you want to know where that is, just look at the map. Wherever Yukon is at, the entire town has this thing going on. There'll be great Czech food. There'll be a parade that starts at about 10 o'clock. They'll have carnival rides for the little ones. Tons of vendors, a bunch of vendors. The parade starts at 10, I think I mentioned, which starts the entire party, actually. It's a really good party. It happens once a year. It's the first Saturday of every October, I guess. We will be there on 4th and Elm. We will skip next week's Thursday show. We're not going to do the live show, but we're going to do a live show right at the Czech Fest in our booth, in our area. There's going to be a live show with a live audience. 11 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be kind of weird, but it's going to be noisy. It's going to be great. I enjoy a live crowd. It's so much better, actually. So 11 o'clock, be there. Bring the little ones over. We're going to have some cool gifts for those who join the party, okay, the actual live show. So thank you for tuning in today. Okay, we really do appreciate all of you being here. I know you got other things to do on a Thursday evening, but here you are listening to what we have to say. So we are sorry if we didn't get to all the questions you needed to get to, or if we missed it, we'll plug in some answers for you. All we ask from you is a little bit of social traction. So, if you like what you saw today, give us a like, give us a share, give us a heart, give us a comment, give us something. That's all we care about, okay? I would not be doing my job if I did not remind you all not to struggle with your dog training and behavioral issues. This is what we do. Give us a shot. And We'll love to help you out. This is Angel Soriano, aka Dogman, barking back at you. You asked, we answered. What did she say she wanted? Oh, okay. Game.